Blessings, everyone. Welcome to another Storytime Kanita, where I tell true crime stories and Bible stories. Today will be a true crime story. This is the case of Rebekah Gay. Now, Rebekah Gay was a 24-year-old, much-loved, single working mother of a 3-year-old son. But on October 31st of 2012, she didn't come to work at a local store, so a coworker went to her home to look for her. Now, when they went there, she wasn't there, but her car was in a bar parking lot that was near her trailer. So what they did, they had the landlord go and unlock the door to the home, and inside they saw Rebekah's purse was on the counter, but she was nowhere to be found. Her mother, Sally Gay, and friends grew very concerned. So then the sheriffs executed a search of her residence and the vehicle. Now, what they observed of an area of the carpet that looked like it had recently been cleaned. It appeared there was some sort of a struggle in the home. And so they determined that the home was going to be the crime scene. The neighborhood was canvassed, and detectives talked with people close to Rebekah, including Aaron, as well as her son's father. And they were both cleared as suspects. But then the detectives went ahead and interviewed a man named John White, who was a 55-year-old minister who was in a relationship with Sally Gay, which is Rebekah Gay's mother. So John White, he lived in the same trailer park as Rebekah, and it was routine for him to drop Conway, the son, off with his dad on Wednesday. So the morning went according to plan, he said. White had told investigators that he went to Rebekah's trailer around 6:30 a.m. to watch Conway before the drop-off. The door was unlocked and he walked in. He claimed Rebekah was in the bathroom and he heard her tell him to rest on the couch until Conway woke up. Now, he fell asleep and didn't see her leave, and so he dropped the boy off with his father around 8 a.m. But detectives were very sharp, and they observed a cut on White's nose during the interview, and he said a shelf had fallen in his trailer, and he showed investigators where it happened. But then the story at first seemed a little legitimate. But as a routine part of their investigation, they looked into the minister's background, and they started seeing some very seedy things in his background. Now, John White was a character. And he did some seedy things in his background. The investigators dug deeper into his past, and they learned about a crime that he was convicted of. Now, in Battle Creek in 1980, when he was 22 years old, he lured his 17-year-old neighbor, Teresa Etherton, into his basement. Now, he stabbed her repeatedly. Now, she survived, and White served only 2 years for this attempted murder before he got out on appeal. He said his lawyers should have mounted an insanity defense, according to the case laws. Now, then, if that wasn't enough, in 1994, he was implicated in the disappearance of a young woman, Vicky Sue Wall. Her body eventually was found. Due to lack of evidence, White agreed to plead no contest to involuntary manslaughter, and he was behind bars from 1995 to 2007. So now, November 1st of 2012, the next day, he finally decided he wanted to confess to the investigators. Now, he told the investigators that he drank several beers that night and watched pornographic websites where people commit sexual acts on dead bodies. He said necrophilia intrigued him and that he had fantasized about experiencing that with Rebekah. So after 5 beers, it sounded like he got the courage to go into the residence, and he unlocked the door and he let himself in. So while Conway slept, trigger warning, he beat Rebekah over and over with a rubber mallet. Then he slipped a cable tie around her throat and cinched it tight. He dragged her body into the kitchen and removed her clothes. After that, he stuffed her into a garbage bag, dumped her down a ravine, and drove home. And he moved Rebekah's car to the bar parking lot to mislead the detectives. Now, Rebekah's body was ultimately recovered. It appeared that she had ligature marks around her neck. An autopsy results showed signs of abrasions that indicated a sexual assault on Rebekah while she was still alive or shortly after death. Now, in March of 2013, John White pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 56 years in prison, but 4 months later, this piece of trash killed himself in his jail cell. This just goes to show you he was a pastor and he was engaged to Rebekah Gay's mother. You have got to look into people's background. I don't care what title they hold. I don't care how they talk about their minister or whatever the case may be. Look into these backgrounds, do background checks. This didn't have to happen. Rest in peace, Rebekah Gay.